Got to get started with a little bit of tune there. Welcome, Your Solution. 30 to 45 minutes of mind optimization and some spirit recap. I hope you guys are ready. Welcome, Keith. There goes that. I'll have to get to it in a little bit. All right. Yes, welcome to Your Solution. I am your host, Santos Jr., out of Stockton, California, founder of the Soldiers of Self-Mastery movement, creator of GABA, the Gambling Addictions Breakthrough Advance, coming soon. And we're also working on TTT. What is that? Thriving Through Trauma. We're gonna have a fast time tonight. Maybe who knows? Somebody might be willing to join us on the cam so we can discuss this topic of, are we screwed up or are we getting better because of past relationships or the present ones? Get inside, put your seatbelt on. I hope you got a piece of paper and some pen or whatever it is that you got to write with. Maybe you got the free journal that I sent you. Did you get the free journal that I sent you? Maybe. I hope you're prepared. 30 to 45 minutes is going to go by very quick, so make sure that you put your seatbelt on, right? I'm putting mine on. Click. Putting the little thing on the door thingy. Turning the volume down and making sure that all distractions are set down and set aside. All right. Looks like camera. My microphone, I need to get a new microphone. So maybe that's going to be a little bit of a distraction today. Maybe not. Hey, welcome, Race. Welcome, Jim. Welcome, Nick. Welcome, Keith. Welcome, Good Vibes _ Ole. Hey, did I remind you guys last time that gambling's a lie? It is. Gambling's a lie, man. So don't believe it anymore. Don't believe the hype. Okay. We're going to be taking on questions here. We're going to be looking at this topic again a little bit more. I was trying to see if I could print out something here. Jim was sharing with us. Maybe Jim, if you want to come on the camera, if you got something that you want to share, okay? If you're not, I don't know. I know that all of us don't eat liver like the Liver King. You got to be really bold for that kind of stuff. But you can still come on the camera if you want to share something that's positive, that's going to help this community or somebody else that may watch the program, the video afterwards. I'm challenged to be here just like you are. And again, are you ready for Monday? All right. What's going on here? Whoa, that's weird. Okay. All right, let me pause that. And we're going to see if we can get some questions going on this broadcast. We're only broadcasting through YouTube for now. So thank you, all of you guys that are here. Welcome. Bring your question. Listen, let's see what we can get out of this program. Why not? I mean, 30 to 45 minutes is going to go by very quick. But we were talking about relationships. I got a proverb, by the way, I'm going to be reading. Okay. By the way, do I have it wrong? I got to ask this question. Do I have it wrong crushing your addiction? Is it hard? When we say it's hard, we tend to believe that, right? Don't we? But what if I just said, well, it's easy? It's easy to crush your addiction. Is it easy? Or should I say it's doable? Right? Get rid of the word of saying hard. Something's hard. Just get rid of that. It's not going to be easy, but it's doable. Right? Can you crush your gambling addiction? It's doable. That sounds a little bit better. Thank you for correcting me, by the way. You know, I make mistakes. I say things sometimes. I embarrass myself. I humiliate myself in front of people sometimes. It's embarrassing. It's just to err is human. Is that correct? Yeah. The air is human. Hey, Emily. Thank you for the super sticker. There you go. I gotta, by the way, if you want to come on the camera, I'm going to give you the opportunity to share your story or to ask a question live right on the camera. 30 to 45 minutes. Come on, we got to get that courage built up, folks. We must get that courage built up. That's the only way that you're going to overcome and break through. You got to build up your courage. One way to do it is to come on the camera and face the fiddler. Santos, the world's #1, right? You know me as the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. I believe I am. I believe I am the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. Anyhow, journals. If you want one, and this will even help you because it has some support system in here. Check this out. I'm grateful for. Today I will conquer and overcome. Today's priorities. Okay, I better put on there that I'm going to watch the program on Sunday at 7 p.m. because Soldiers of Self-Mastery Community is helping me out. So I'm going to put it in my journal. Hint, hint. These are all free, by the way. I'm going to start charging for those, like $7 for each one. Anyhow, thank you, Emily. Again, thanks, Jim. And my mom and dad are so proud. No more DoorDash. Yeah, there we go. I got a new job. Right on. Things do get better when you stay away from gambling. Of course, man. Of course. And it's just only the start. You gotta believe. You know, we gotta convince ourselves. I don't care what people say. I don't care what I say. Honestly, sometimes I don't care. You must convince yourself. But how are you going to do it, though? How are you going to convince yourself? How is the question. How are you going to convince yourself? Now, we were talking about relationships. Do relationships have anything to do with your gambling addiction? Does relationships have anything to do with your addiction, period? Let me see something here. Relationships, trauma. Just want to read something to you real quick. And then you can ask if you have a question. Please ask a question. Let's not waste time here. Listen to what it says. Childhood trauma is often described as serious, severe childhood experiences, right? Children may go through a range of experiences that classify as psychological trauma, neglect, abandonment, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and physical abuse. Witnessing abuse of a sibling, the witness, okay, watching, observing the physical abuse of a sibling or parent, having having a mentally ill parent. These events have profound psychological, physiological, and sociological impact that can have negative, lasting effects on health and well-being, such as social behaviors, attention and deficit disorder, ADHD, sleep disturbances, and along the addictions that come along in life, and we get caught up in addictions. So that's Laura. Welcome. Now, I'm not sure if Jim is going to be hanging out with us here. Did I put the comment? I might have put this there. Get him on. If you have a question, I'm going to read a proverb. But ultimately, anyway, the ones that are going to convince, if you're going to convince yourself, it's because you truly want something, and the life that you're living is not what you want. You know, the life that you're living is not what you want. So you're going to have to convince yourself one way or another. There's Jim. We're going to bring Jim on. Hey, Mark. So you're going to have to convince yourself. I don't know how you're going to do it. Do I care how you're going to do it? Yeah, I guess I care because you don't want you don't you don't want to do things the wrong way, right? You want to do things the right way. That's the way to do it here, the right way. But let me read the Philippians 1:6. I really enjoyed this proverb. I read it earlier, and I'm going to read it again here. And then we're going to bring Jim on, and we're going to talk about this thing. Why do we have such difficulties today with ourselves, man? We make decisions. We say we're going to do something, and then we sabotage ourselves. We do all kinds of. Anyways, we're going to get back into that here. 1:6 says, being confident of this very thing. This is Proverb Philippians 1:6. Being confident of this very thing, that he which begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. So that's good because I'm working on myself, right? And Jesus is working on me. That's what I understand. So I'm working on myself, and he's working on you too. He's working on you. Isn't that great that you have however he's working in our lives? We don't know because some of it's very mysteriously, but you're working in your life too to better yourself, to improve, not to become worse. Who works on themselves to be a disaster? I'm going to turn there's people that do that. They turn themselves into monsters, man. They work on themselves diligently and they turn themselves into monsters. We see them all the time. We got to turn it around though, right? That doesn't, I don't know, Jim, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But then again, when you're a child, if you're indoctrinated, like we've been talking about all these traumas, they take these people that commit atrocities, and I'm not saying in all cases it's this way, but when you're a child and maybe you've lost your parents and you don't have any family and somehow you end up in some camp somewhere under somebody's care and you're indoctrinated to become a terrorist, it's crazy. It's crazy what's happening. And yet we become problem gamblers, we become addicted to all kinds of weird things, and then we're struggling with ourselves and we're unhappy. But I'm glad that we're here.
Yeah, Santos. Thanks. Yeah, you talk about those people who have like those negative childhood experiences, and I was writing down, when we're talking about relationships, we all want to belong, right? We all want to feel needed and wanted in this society we live in. It's like how we survive. It's like basic, right? And when you are put in a situation where you're neglected, you're abused, all this kind of stuff is thrown at you. It's like, what do you do? You got to figure out some way to survive, right? And you were talking about how do these people get indoctrinated like into these cults or whatever, terrorists, gangs, right? They feel accepted, right? They feel
Yeah.
accepted, say, come join us, we want you, we want you, you're supported here, you know what I mean? And yeah, if you don't have plans for yourself, right? Jim Rohn says if you don't make plans for yourself, you're going to fall into other people's plans, and really they don't have much in store for you. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't have much in store for you. So I mean, but yeah, I mean that's hindsight. But it's good to understand where you come from, what happened, so that you can understand. It's like, why am I acting like this? Why do I gravitate towards these bad relationships? Why is it? I mean, like we can go down to the core thing. It's like we need to feel like we belong, and we're just trying to surviving and belonging, right? But yeah, but how are we surviving? How are we belonging? What are we belonging to? It could be bad, could be really bad. So just stop
Yeah.
and think. It's like, is this good or bad for me? You know?
Yeah, we're screwed up. Jim, we're screwed up, man. All of
Sure.
us. We're all
Yeah.
crackpots.
Right. I mean, the sooner we can kind of understand ourselves, we're talking about, understanding ourselves. That's the beginning of, a better life right there. You know,
Yeah,
where do we
and
come from? What makes us tick?
yeah, it's amazing. You know what really is amazing is you know when you take journeys, that's why the mind, one thing that I learned in boot camp, I learned something when I look back about boot camp, military boot camp. It showed me how powerful the human mind really is and how quickly it can change. So, when you use your mind to visualize and you go back into your past and you look at some of these situations that you've been through, we know that history repeats itself. Isn't that odd how it's always like that? It seems like I was looking at someone the other day. I remember bell bottom pants. Remember the bell bottom? They call them bell bottoms, and then they went away, and they've been back a couple times. Why am I saying that? Is because if you don't understand what's happening early on in your life, it's going to be difficult for you to understand what's happening presently. I believe that very strongly today more than ever. What is the environment of the gambling? Because we are talking about gambling, right? The gambling environment. It's an environment. So we know that environments produce there's an energy there. There's something about environments that we're drawn to, right? We live in a home, that's an environment. We go to work, that's another environment. We go hang out with people, this is an environment right here. And this better be an environment that's conducive to greater health and growth. That's the way I see it, or else I won't be here. You should be growing every day. But the thing is that these relationships that we've come from have impacted us today. And we're making decisions. The casino is an environment what is it doing to us? And what is that environment doing to us when we go to the casino and gamble?
I mean, like if you think about it, you know, uh, they are giving some kind of benefit, right? Some type of benefit. These organizations are giving some kind of benefit. I mean, like, but you have to, yeah, it's pleasure, it's escapism, it's good feelings, it's relaxation, it's forgetting about reality, right?
It's
But I mean, really,
bypassing.
yeah,
Is it bypassing? It's bypassing something in your mind and it's getting into your emotions where you're being stirred.
hmm
It's like something's flying under the radar and it's causing you to take action. And then you're paying the price for it.
yeah, yeah. You talk about environments, and yeah, that environment, has good feelings, but I mean, really, it's like junk food almost, right? It feels good at the moment, right? It's gonna come, but later on, what happens if you eat too many donuts, right? Get diabetes. What if you eat too many French fries or like hamburgers and stuff? How like clogged arteries, etc. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick. I mean, like look at race. I see the comment to race. What has this environment? What has this group of people right here and soldiers of self mastery, the relationships he has made with everyone here? How has that affected his life? You know, think about that. Is that good feelings that are going to be just, in that moment? Or is that going to sustain, and really be meaningful to him over the
Exactly.
years, decades,
Exactly.
etc.? And you think about that, it's like, wow, you know, I see that. I see that race guy, it's like, wow, things are looking a little bit better, And I think this shows, definitely had an impact on his direction, you see? The type of people we hang out with, man. So
Yeah.
important, the environment, the
Yeah.
messages,
Yeah.
that kind of environment, you know, and it's it's like I mean like I mean, I think about Whitney Houston and that song that she sang, "The Greatest Love." She says everyone searching for a hero could never find somebody to look up to fulfill her needs. A lonely place to be until I learned to depend on me. You know, Race is doing something for himself that's positive, putting himself in a good environment. You know, we all are putting ourselves, we're choosing to depend upon ourselves, right? I mean, if you really think about it, it's like you put yourself into that casino or any of those negative places, environments, right? You're depending upon them, right? You're depending upon them to take care of your needs, right? I mean,
some
it's
kind
like
of a,
you have to
yeah,
really think about that. It's like if I become dependent upon these things, whether it be gambling, drugs, alcohol, risky relationships, that kind of stuff, you know, you're putting your life, in someone else's hands. And like I said before, chances are they're not going to have much in store for you. Not much, right? So it's really thinking about depending upon yourself, right? Looking at yourself, having that courage to, like, understand yourself, say what's going on with my relationships, what's my environment, is this good or bad for me?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, having that kind of courage, depend upon myself, right? Depend upon myself to take these steps necessary to take control of my life. Really important.
Yeah, it's extremely important. And, it's, we have to come to that place where we recognize this place is like a bus stop. I think, I remember I used to, at the bus stop, you meet people and you have conversations, and I remember a couple of good times that I had at the bus stop, but there was a time where I had a bad situation at a bus stop. But this right here is like it's like we're all traveling right through life. We're all on the freeway of life, and we're getting on bus. We're all waiting to get on a bus to go somewhere. And this is a bus stop. Come here, and there's conversation going on. I just, my, my desire, obviously, I really want everybody that wants it, everybody that wants it, a permanent freedom from gambling. That's really one of the biggest goals that I'm coming into an awareness this year. I believe towards the middle of this year is that gambling, for me, it's not a game anymore. It's something that I look at it as a challenge completely to dominate, and through that process, I'm growing. Through that process, I'm becoming better. I'm researching, I'm learning more about myself. And I was going to drive up to Reno a couple of days ago and take some videos up there. And I thought, no, I'm not. I was about an hour away from Reno, and I was going to drive up there and just take some pictures there. I said, no, I'm not going to go there. I don't have a need to go there. I was there before on business, handing out flyers and stuff, promoting my book and doing some other things to get people open an awareness that, hey, there's a channel on YouTube that you can turn to get support. Anyways, why did I say that? Environment, drive. You stop and think. Okay, should I go there? Stop and think. That's one of the key things that I want us to learn. Get in the habit of doing that. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. If we get in the habit of stopping to think a lot more, it's going to help us determine whether these environments that we're going into are going to be helpful for us. And the truth is that you might be doing something. The truth is that you might be gambling. Somebody here might be gambling, and you might not really know why you're gambling. You may not really know why. That maybe in the beginning you thought you knew why, but now you've gone past that place where you don't even, it doesn't, you stopped here and I've got you thinking, why am I gambling? And because it wasn't working for me. I remember it wasn't working for me. I wasn't thinking that way back then. Nobody came across my path until I started searching, actually, you know, until I got tired of the pressure and all of these things that were going on. But I realized that a lot of the decisions that I've made, and by the way, did I say happy birthday to Laura there? Happy birthday. Nice to be 21, huh? But a lot of the decisions that I've made were predicated upon relationships. And I've realized that, you know what, man, you better know your relationships today more than ever. Um, because if you don't, you're like Chris Voss says, he goes, you're in negotiations every single day, Jim. Every single day you're in negotiations, even if it's with yourself. And if you can't convince yourself to get yourself going in the right direction, you're going to have a hard time doing it for others. Or can you persuade others without really persuading yourself? Yeah, if you're a fake and a fraud, I guess. But you can only do that for so long because the fake and the fraud is going to be found out.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, when you go back to relationships, and trauma, trauma, those traumatic events that people have when they're young, I feel that people manipulate their lives and relationships. They want to control stuff, right? I feel that that's a major thing that people who had trauma or problems when they were young, they have to have some sense of control, you know. Um, could be narcissism, manipulating people to get what they want. And it could even be. I was thinking about this. It's like they control their attitude. They have this control. It's kind of a twisted way. And I reflected on my own life. It's like, why am I so negative? And I thought about, what does negativity do? Ben, how does that benefit me? Well, if I control, the expectations of my life or situations, if I can lower it down and be negative about it, I don't have to be disappointed if the outcome is bad. You see? So I think, disappointment is is the difference between expectation and reality. Okay? And if you have high expectation, but what happens over here is crappy, it's low, all that stuff is disappointment right there. And that can be crushing. That can be devastating to a person. It's like, it's, oh my God, I failed, or, it's like, I'm no good, you know? So I'm thinking that, control, right? Control, being negative, that kind of stuff, to be in a safe place, man, to be in that safe, protective place, and just that kind of stuff is no good, when you talk about improving yourself. And it goes back to that fear, it goes back to that safety, it goes back to that trying to, like trying to survive, that survival mode, and you get stuck in these mindsets, right? Like negative mindset, like I need
The
lots of
environment.
pleasure mindset, I need lots of pleasure, I need to have distractions, you
The
know.
dopamine is feeding you. The dopamine is feeding you in the wrong way. It's feeding something that you uh, obviously that is feeding something, right? It's feeding the wrong thing. It's going down the wrong tube. The
Right.
dopamine that we need to be getting from should be from us seeking direction and uh, journaling or doing these things. That's where once you create those, and again, we are talking about relationships and how relationships impact us, how we make decisions today. You could be 75 years of age. You could be 75 years of age and come to a revelation at 75 that you've been making decisions predicated upon something that happened to you when you were 5 years of age,
Yep.
and go from 75 on, if you live to 90, with a new awareness in life. Isn't that great that we have the opportunity? You can teach an old dog new tricks. Somebody said you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I believe you can. But the environment is here in all of us. And you on the other side, you know what your environment is. You know the seeds that you're planting into your environment. 6 months from today, 3 months from today, you're going to have a harvest. There's going to be something. Jim, you've mentioned this a long time ago, collateral damage. You're either going to get results one way or another. Life gives us results. Whether it's a failure, that's a good result. If it's a success, that's an even greater result. Either way, we're getting results. And are we feeding? Are we looking at analyzing this data? All this, the environment. We're getting results from the environment. I hope you guys are getting this. Not necessarily from the gambling casino. The gambling casino is just feeding into your personal environment. And some people are wrecked. Jim, some people are wrecked because of gambling and because of other types of addictions that they've lost control over.
Hmm.
Because once you think in your mind, I've lost control, man, I can't do this. I can't quit. Once you start talking that way, I can't quit. I've tried, man. I've tried, man. I've tried. I heard somebody say, man, I tried a million times. No, you didn't try a million times. You tried maybe three times. Environment. And remember, physiological, sociological, and is it psychological changes? What is that? Physio. I believe that has to do with the body.
That's the nervous system.
Physio.
That's your emotions.
Yeah, socio, right? Socio has to do with relationships, people, kind of where we go. So our decisions are being impacted or impacting, and also psychological. Because if you don't believe in yourself, right, I mean, anybody can say, yeah, I believe in myself, but there's a progress to get yourself to actually take action versus just saying, I believe.
Hmm.
And to me, it's fun. To me, it's fun. It's like I've become addicted to this thing called self mastery. Ever since I left gambling, it left the void, and I'm intrigued by it. I enjoy studying all kinds of different things, and I never realized that this would be a hobby of sorts for me, and to fill a void. But I'm learning so much about relationships in the past. I think that has the biggest impact in our lives. What happened to us as children?
Understanding, you know, understanding what are the qualities of like positive, meaningful relationships and environments. I mean, like, how many people who get beat down, are down in the dumps, who like are wrecked? How many of these people have gotten encouragement, good words, anything positive said, anything said to them, in the groups that they hang around, that's meaningful. It's like, you know what, you can do it. You have the ability, right? I mean, people need to hear that kind of stuff. Really. I mean, you got to hang around people and groups and environments where you're encouraged to do uh, your very best, you know, that they can see the best in you, and, they tell you that, you got to keep hearing that. That's a positive programming right there.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
truth though, like a place like this also, I like to have fun. Obviously, we have fun. I think we have fun here. We laugh, and maybe we could even cry too, because we're talking about some really deep things on this broadcast. And I hope I don't offend anybody by saying what I say. Some of these things are so deep that I'm beginning to realize that we're just scratching the surface on this program. When it comes to mind mouth power congruency, when it comes to relationship building, when it comes to business, you can have a business, you can have a business, you can have a business doing very well. You could take that business to another level, right? And from there, you can take your business to another level. We don't have to settle here. We don't have to settle here with our lives. You don't have to settle here. There's another level. And there's another one above that, and another one above that. But you got to be dedicated to search and figure out what it is about you and how you can get yourself there. I made some videos on TikTok, which I don't know, I get a few views on TikTok, talking about tapping into your inner genius. Man, imagine what your life would be if you tapped into your inner genius. And you'll never tap into it 100% because it's impossible. It's too deep, it's too wide, there's too much knowledge. But what if you can just tap into your inner genius just a little bit more than you're doing now, if you're even trying? How would that overflow into your business? How would that overflow into your relationships? How would that overflow into your environment? Right? Into your environment.
Yeah, that seems like you're raising the level of your standard of survival, right? I mean, it's not just living and breathing and like staying away from danger. It's like, evolving, you know, and that's a decision right there, you know, to envision like a better life, something better, something that looks promising and hopeful, right? Um, s- s-
Yep.
Someone, you can like be proud of. It's like, you know what, I'll be very proud of that person myself, you know in the year, myself in the year, if I can be this person. you know
Mm-hmm.
Starts with that imagination, and yeah, it does take hard work.
Mm-hmm.
It does take that
Exactly.
decision. um yeah.
Exactly. It's what it is. It takes work. I mean, it's not hard. I don't think it's hard. I think that I've been saying it's hard. It's not hard. It's doable. I remember I used to say that. And if you don't see, it is true that your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. And if we're not reminded enough, we forget. We have to be able to remind ourselves enough where it just becomes a part of us and we move on. Right? Once you learn something, once something is a part of you, you move on. You grow from there. You don't just go. We're not going through life, right? Who wants to just go through life? I don't want to go through life. I was going through life before. I want to grow through life. I want to grow through my difficult experiences. I want to grow through my great experiences, the bad and the good. I'm going to get bitter. I'm going to have a bad attitude. I'm going to go gambling when it gets difficult. Oh, you can do that. That's your choice, right? That is a choice that we have. Yeah. Well, it looks like we're coming down to the end of the wire here. So I'm just going to do, Jim, if you want to share a little bit more. I know we talked about, we've shared quite a bit on this broadcast, a little bit here. What would be, listen, what would you be, if we're going to do a call to action here, what would you say to somebody that's struggling right now with the understanding that, man, they've had a lot of bad relationships in the past, and now they recognize, they've been on this program for the last couple of weeks, and they recognize, man, I had a bad foundation.
Yeah. um
Bad foundation.
I would just encourage, you know anyone's who having a bad time, and say, look, you need to make a decision. Do you care about yourself? Do you love yourself enough, to want to become better, right? To improve, get yourself out of this garbage that you're in. you know do you feel ready for a change? Do you care about yourself enough? And then, if you start if you decide, you got to decide, right, Santos? You got to decide that, I'm sick
Yeah,
of this life. I don't like it anymore. You gotta
yeah,
you gotta kind of realize, this things are not going well, and I need to make a change. And where does the change start? You got to look at yourself. You got to look at your relationships. You got to kind of find out, dig deep and find out, where did it all start? Where did it all come from, right? Start
yeah,
taking notes, right? Really start questioning, how did I get here? Where am I? Is this good or bad? Who are the people I'm hanging around with? Who
Yeah.
did I hang around before?
Imagine, Jim, if you tried to run your business without a log. Would that
Hmm.
work?
No, no, you got to have records. You got to
Yeah.
have things written down. You got to understand what happened, what went right, what went wrong, especially what went wrong, you know, so that you can prevent that kind of stuff from happening again.
Just imagine if just everybody or more people today would begin a logbook of their own life. Just start day one tomorrow and just a little bit, right? Just a little bit in the logbook. And then like once a week, you review that logbook and you just look at some things and I believe that you can dramatically, because I've done it and I'm still doing it. I'm a firm believer in the logbook called the journal.
Sure. Yeah.
It's made, this thing has made such an impact in my life that probably um, for my recommendations, if somebody literally wanted to change their life and they just wanted to be cheap about it, they didn't want to go anywhere or rehabilitation or hire a coach or anything, I would say get yourself a journal and begin writing in that journal the life that you want. Well, I just fantasize. Even when you begin to fantasize, it begins to awaken parts of your brain that you've never used before. I don't know what that's called, but it does awaken and it produces even more activity. So it's not even, I don't think, well, it is the active part of taking action of going to a journal. But what happens afterwards is very magical because it kind of opens up a new world for you. You can use a journal for your personal things in life that you struggle with. You can use a journal for your happy times. You can document happy times. It's not just a journal to write about all your problems. So that's just my recommendation there. That along with your self talk, that's kind of like my call to action today here is your self talk. Begin to monitor, just if you want change, if you want create faster change, if you want to create change, work on this thing. Just try a few words. Just add one or two words to your vocabulary and start using them now over the next few days. Just one or two words and add them into your vocabulary and say them to yourself. And then when you're out there talking to people, if maybe you can use those words and then add a few more. Change your vocabulary. I'm telling you, it'll change your world. It'll begin to transform your environment. And that's exactly what we need. We need a transformation of this environment because why? Because there's been many seeds planted from way on, way on. Thank you for, thank you guys for supporting. I appreciate all of you guys supporting this mission. When I only looked at in the mirror, that's crazy because I didn't mirror for years, even brushing teeth, washing. It's crazy. I know we take things for granted. We take things for granted. We just become like, the power of subconscious. It's the power of subconscious is keeping us pumping blood and doing all kinds of things. From what I understand, the subconscious is working in the background. We're not even thinking about it. We're just kind of thinking with the logical mind right now. Man, I wonder if I could, trust people too. That's another thing. Well, I wonder if I can really trust what Santos is saying. I don't know if, whatever. You know, find what's going to work for you and tweak it and make it yours. If it's journaling, find a way to use journaling. Maybe you can come up with some special idea of how to, you know, journal on your skin. I used to do that. I'd write on my skin at times and I'd leave it on there. I'd read it to myself. Seriously, I would write on myself and just to remind myself of something. I'd be all day long looking at it. And after a while, it just sticks with you. So, yeah. Well, Jim, we've come to the 45 minutes of the broadcast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, just a key phrase, personal development. I think, all the problems that we have in our lives, We can allow nature. Human beings are very unique eh, creatures, right? I mean, like life in itself. We basically take disorganization and make something functional and beautiful, right? Now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like we have this ability to create something awesome, you know, and that starts with developing ourselves. Or we can just let the world just take us and throw us around, beat us up and rip us to pieces, going to the casino, drinking alcohol, hang around with bad people, you know, just rip you up and, just tear you up, turn you into a zombie, and you say, you know what? I have the ability and I can create something better within myself, and it's just a decision right there. And then it starts with looking at yourself, journaling, like you talked about, uh, reflecting upon your life, writing things down, coming up with ideas, visualizing, a better life. What do you want in life? And then you start the process, of a plan, of a plan, you know, and just
Exactly.
have the courage to just execute.
Exactly. Courage to execute. The courage to execute. That's CTE.
CT.
Courage to execute. Right. CTE.
Hmm.
So with that said, my friends, I want to thank you for hanging out. Race, appreciate your support, your time here, and Laura, thank you for hanging out. Emily, thank you for hanging out with us here. And who else was on here? We've had a few people. Mark was on here. Keith, yeah, Keith, thank you. I think Emily there gave us a super sticker. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Emily. I think I acknowledge that. And then there was Nick. Nick came on for a little bit there. We ain't at the casino. We winning. There we go. And good vibes only. He was on here for a little bit. Good evening, Santos and community. All right, my friends. Well, until next broadcast, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard, I'll be here. Hopefully, Jim will be here to share. Since nobody else will come on camera, in fact, next week I might end up picking somebody to come on, force you to come on the camera, see if we can get you to build up some courage right here on screen. But we'll be back here again. We'll be putting a few videos out on YouTube this week. Check out the videos. Listen, if you're struggling with something, you got some folks you can reach out to. I'm sure you can reach out to Jim if you have a question about business or something. You have a question about whatever with me here. It doesn't matter, business or addiction. I'm here to support you if you're wanting to support yourself. Before you go and waste money on in the casino or doing something that you don't unnecessary and then you pay the price for it, invest in yourself. I don't care if it's coaching with me or buying a program somewhere where you get educated. Landmark is one that's out there. That's a good program you can get into. You pay. Get yourself educated. Do something. Don't just take your money, the hard-earned money that you got, and barter with it in the wrong direction. So, with that said, my friends, I really thank all of the community here and the guests. If there's been any guests? I don't know. I think you guys are all part of this community. Yeah, community's growing. Little by little, it's growing. So, with that said, Jim, thank you for reaching out to us from Tucson, Arizona. I hope you're staying cool over there,
Mhm. Yes, thank you, Santos. Appreciate it.
pedaling around town. All right, until my next broadcast, remember to make every day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of, and your good life will come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. So I'll see you next week, 7 p.m.
Thanks,
All right,
Santos. Have a good week.
you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.